Hello, and this is another video for the Religion of Good project. My name is Ivan, and today's video we were talking about guilt and shame and responsibility. I've come to the conclusion that guilt and shame are really kind of bad things. They come from a good place, but it's sort of like the wrong thing for the right reason. Because, I mean, guilt doesn't generally help anything. I mean, it's like you sort of feel good in some sense because you did something that you feel is wrong, somebody else feels is wrong, and you think, oh gosh, I feel so terrible about myself, and I'm gonna let the whole world know what a terrible, awful, horrible sinner I am, or whatever it is you think. And the problem I have with that is that, you can kind of spend a long time just feeling guilt and shame and not actually changing, not actually being better for it. You just kind of tear yourself up inside. And the other problem I have with it is that we are all imperfect creatures by nature. We were made imperfect creatures, whether we believe that God made us imperfect or whether we believe that the universe made us imperfect. We are imperfect. We all make mistakes. And all we can do is do the best we can with the knowledge we have and try to do better next time if we mess up. And I firmly believe that nobody really knows what the truth is about knowledge, about what the truth is about morality. I firmly believe that. I think that, there isn't a single religion or philosophy or whatever that really has the answer, that's really nailed it. And none of us human beings really know what it means to be a good person. And this is a problem in our society. This is why I'm doing the Religion of Good project, is because I think that humanity can all benefit from all of us coming together and discussing these sorts of issues. So guilt and shame sort of presume that somebody out there has some sort of ability to judge you. Somebody else, another person, yourself, or God. And as far as other people, I don't think other people know better than you do. As far as yourself, sure, you can judge yourself, but, and I certainly think that we should look in the mirror. I think we should think through our ethics. I think we should hold ourselves up to a high standard. I think we should have ideals and should have virtues and ethics and everything. But it's just, I think it's just unhelpful and unhealthy to just tear ourselves up and beat ourselves up over a mistake. It's like if we made a mistake about anything else that's not a moral question, we don't tend to do that. I mean, if we just we're learning some new skill or something like that, we just get something wrong, we're cooking or something, we just, didn't put enough salt in or something like that, or we put too much of one herb or, whatever, put the wrong herb in, we put like vanilla in and the recipe didn't call for vanilla, and we get done and we think, ugh, it's too vanilla-y. We don't feel guilt or shame, we just feel, maybe we do if we had company, but we just feel, oops, that was silly, I'm not going to do that again. And I think it's the same way with ethics. Why do we treat ourselves any differently? Instead of guilt and shame, I am going to suggest that we just take responsibility. That we just take, in a very deep way, take responsibility for everything that we do. That we try to live our lives in such a way that we minimize harm to others, which is, it's impossible not to harm others. What about self-defense? What about defense of others? What about, where there's a moral dilemmas in which, somebody's going to get hurt, either us or them, those kind of things. certainly it's impossible to never harm anybody, but try to live our lives in such a way where we minimize harm. And it's impossible to know who you're going to offend, who's going to feel hurt by what you've said. You know, being a good person is a huge juggling act, even when we feel that we know what our ethics are. And I think for most of us, our ethics are kind of this ever-evolving thing. Even if we have scripture, you know, if you have the Ten Commandments, those are subject to interpretation. So, so really, you know, it's pointless to tear ourselves up inside because of something that we think we did wrong. What is good is to take responsibility. To take responsibility ahead of time by trying to think through how our actions might impact other people, and take appropriate measures that we think are the right things to minimize harm to others, and to take responsibility afterwards by apologizing if we think that we should apologize, by rethinking through how we do what we could do better, and also by you know, really owning our actions. But you know, don't be too hard on yourself. I think we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves. We should take responsibility. We should just always try to do better, always try to improve. But there's also an extent to which people can guilt trip us. That's another reason why I don't really believe in guilt, is because people can pull on our heartstrings. People can constantly complain that they're offended by something we said, or they're like, case in point, okay? I've had debates with the nasty sort of evangelicals. So there's good evangelicals. There's also the nasty evangelicals. And I've had these debates where they were the ones who came to me. They were trying to convert me. They were trying to tell me that I'm going to burn in hell because I don't believe what they believe. And then when I say, well, I'm sorry, I don't believe that, they'd say, well, I'm offended. It's offensive to Christianity. It's like, really? It's offensive to Christianity that, you know, somebody doesn't sincerely believe? What do you want me to do, lie to you? I mean, isn't that a sin? I mean, what do you want here? It's impossible. It's impossible to not, if that's really true that they feel offended, it's impossible not to feel bad. Everybody always, of course they feel bad. They think their way is the one right, true, and only way, and you know, no other way is. And anybody who thinks that way will always feel bad if you say something different from what they want you to say, because they're trying to control you, you know? So there's abuse, there's all sorts of nasty things other people can do that involve guilt tripping us. I think the only way is to look deep inside of our hearts, to think what we really believe, and really, really at a very deep level, take responsibility for our actions and take responsibility for our ethics, to think through our ethics and to hold ourselves accountable by our own standards. And that is a serious undertaking. It does not mean any kind of slacking off. It doesn't mean you get to say, oh, gee, you know, I feel like, you know, punching that person in the nose and by my ethics it's okay. Come on. You know, of course, it's probably not okay unless they're trying to hurt you and that's the only way to stop them or something. But what I'm saying is to really, really take responsibility for thinking through your ethics in a very profound and compassionate way, and then taking it on yourself to follow those ethics. I think that responsibility is much stronger than guilt and shame. Guilt and shame are band-aids. They are ways of tricking ourselves and others into thinking that we feel oh so bad for what we've done, we may not change. Taking responsibility is actually changing, actually making a plan for the future to do better. So anyway, I hope you've gotten something out of this video. If you like this series, please subscribe. If you like the video, please like it. If you give it a thumbs down, please tell me in the comments why. I am respectful of all comments that are polite, so if you have... And polite does not mean not saying what you think. Go ahead and say what you think. Just, you don't need to beat people up over their opinions. So that we can have polite conversations about this. Please tell me what you think if you disagree. And I hope you enjoyed this video and found something out of it, even if it's just to disagree with it and clarify what you think. So, meantime, let's be good to each other.